Hello everybody, how's it going? Classy Video Games here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a review of Linux Mint 17.1. Now this is not a fresh install. As you see in my other workspace here, I have my recording software and that running, but no, I'm just going to do a quick little review, kind of run through the system, tell you guys what you need to know, what I've learned from me tinkering with it, and just kind of explain to you why I chose this. So first of all, last night I actually saw a tweet, and I have no way of verifying if it's true or not, of course, because I'm just one person and I don't have the proper connections, but I heard that Canonical and Ubuntu are going to go paid route. They said that they're going to try and do kind of like an Apple sort of thing, where they're getting enough popularity, they think they can sell their operating system, and so those of us that got it for free might have to start paying for it. They said it might not be a whole lot, but still, I don't know about you guys, but I switched over to Ubuntu because my Windows crashed and I wanted a free alternative. So if they're going to make me pay for it, I'm not on board with that. I liked it more when they were a fully community-based, support-based, donation-based operating system. And I'm not a big fan that they may be changing that. But anyways, let's get on with the desktop. As you saw up in the top right corner here, I think you can see this little icon up here. But if I hover over that, that is a Workspace button. I set that up in the settings. I'll get to that in a second. But if you look at this, it looks pretty standard. Someone coming from Windows might have a pretty good time with that. They might find that pretty easy to use. And as you can see, there are like my settings here. There's like my Wi-Fi connections. There's my laptop battery. If that's applicable, you'll have that too. There's my screen recorder down in the corner, and there's this handy little shield icon. There's the date and time, which by default is 24-hour time, but you can go into the date and settings options and you can change that, unlock it, and probably use 12-hour format. I am coming to like 24-hour time, so I'm not really bothered by it. But anyway, it's a pretty standard looking desktop, and you guys can't really see it. You can see it when I go up here, but I have a second monitor, as you can see by this little second half over here. So that's always helpful. You don't have to set one up. It's just a personal preference of mine. So anyway, let's go down here to the menu. So you start off, and it's a pretty standard looking menu for those of you who have ever used Cinnamon before, of course, but those of you that use GNOME 3, perhaps on other distros, might also find this pretty familiar. Normally, GNOME has a bar on the top and on the bottom, but Cinnamon with Linux 17.1, they decided to take it a different route and go for a bit more of a Windows user-friendly feel. So they put kind of your most used or favorited applications here. You have a lock screen button, a log out button, and a quit button, which, as you can see, will suspend, hibernate, restart, cancel, or shut down. So that's always good. You can change that this icon and the themes. It's initially a cog. I'll show you that in a minute. But as you can see, we have just kind of some pretty standard applications. They've been listening to the community a lot recently about what they wanted as far as applications. So you have kind of your standard accessories, kind of calculator, USB stuff, file manager. For graphics, GIMP I installed separately because I prefer GIMP, but they give you GThumb, they give you LibreOffice Draw, they give you a scanner, they give you Firefox for the default web browser. They give you HexChat for anyone who wants to use Relay Chat to maybe get support on Linux, and I know Spatry is on there almost every day, so if you ever want to hit up Spatry, always check on HexChat. They give you Pigeon Internet Messenger, which is becoming a fairly standard messenger anymore. I mean, it can run Google, it can run Jabber, it can run Yahoo, all that. You get Thunderbird Mail, which personally I use Gmail. I know a lot of people do, but Thunderbird has always been a good client, and if you're looking for a new mail, maybe yours is full of spam or something like that, Thunderbird is definitely a good way to go. And then of course you have Transmission, which is basically torrenting stuff, which is not always well, it's not always a good thing, but as long as you know where you're torrenting from, which BitTorrent is good, then you should do fine. For your Office suite, you have LibreOffice, which is probably my favorite suite. It's not as fully featured as Microsoft, but it's still a very nice program. Still very good program. And if, as you can see, if we pull up just the writer, basically Microsoft Word, you'll see it's a pretty easy to understand interface, lots of clean buttons, very simple to understand. If you want a title, you can center it, you can bold your words, and you can type whatever you want, and you'll get kind of a header. But moving on, you have a sound and video section, which I installed my screen recorder, but you get Banshee for your music. You get Brazero, or Brazero, I think it's Brazero, to make DVDs and CDs. So if you are like me and you like having your OS burned to a disk, you can do that. I have mine on a USB stick right now, but that's just because I have had bad luck getting it on a CD thus far, but I did it with Ubuntu, and I remember I did it with my mom's Linux machine, so I know it can be done with this. I just need to figure out what settings I adjusted. You have a video player, just kind of your standard Totem video player. It's nothing really fancy. It's just a video player. That is literally all it does. And then you have, of course, VLC, which is everyone's favorite. They brought this back by popular demand. It's also pretty much just, if it'll open, it's not opening. I don't know. Did it open in the other Workspace? I don't know. It doesn't seem to want to open right now, probably because it knows. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, it's pretty much the same thing, but it's just kind of the better version, I think, personally. I've had a lot of good luck with this system, and with the VLC system, as someone who does YouTube videos, not as often as I'd like, but still a little bit. And so yeah, that's kind of your sound and video. Of course, you can download what I'm going to download later, and I might show you in this video if I have time. I'll show you Kdenlive when we get to the Software Center, which is pretty good. For administration, you get it's pretty standard stuff. You get like Update Manager, you get Software Manager, you get like login information, you get backup, you get disk usage, stuff like that. Preferences, you get like accessibility, backgrounds, color of stuff. If you want to change your monitor color, if one of them's like too dim or something, you can adjust that. You can adjust your desktop, all that kind of stuff. And then you have your standard kind of documents, music, that thing, and then your recent documents. So that's kind of that launcher. So let's see what exactly is new in the newest release of Mint. If it'll pull up here. It's okay. This is not doing what I wanted it to do. That's okay. Looks like there was a lot of donations. It's always good, but yeah, the Linux Mint blog goes over a lot of new stuff that they're doing. They're talking about the Mint Box Mini. Apparently, they're making like little console-esque sort of things. It's always cool. But yeah, God, I keep bumping that. Sorry. So yeah, let's go into the file manager. If you look at the file manager, you can see it's recording my video right here, and all these other things. If you've ever used a Linux distro before, you're pretty familiar with. This is the I think the Nemo 2.4 file system, which I think is a good system. And one thing that they changed that I really like is if, say, I wanted my downloads folder, because I use that a lot, I can change the color of the downloads folder so that it stands out. So now it's blue. Or say if I wanted it like red, I could do that. That way when I open this up, I'm like, bam, downloads folder, found it. I don't have to look through all the green. So that's always a good option if you're looking for that. And then this, you can't really do a whole lot with, partially because it's recording, but you know, I'm not really going to mess with that right now because I need that. So moving on, as you can see up in the top right corner, I already showed you, but this is the workspace thing, and you come over to your other workspace, and it's pretty much the same. It just you can move files around from workspace to workspace, not by dragging them. I thought you could, but by dragging them here. So if I wanted it workspace 1, I have to click back on workspace 1. There it is. I want it in workspace 2, kind of out of the way. But it comes with Firefox. So if we go to the software manager and put in your password, which mine's pretty simple, just because I've only had this for a day, and since I was installing so many things, I just didn't want to type a long password, but I will change it. As you can see, you have lots and lots and lots of packages, lots of things that I need to get Wine eventually, or Skype if you want it, Audacity if that's what you're into. You can use Genie if you do that. Westnoth, it's Battle for Westnoth. Blender, that's a 3D modeler. It's always kind of cool. But yeah, you can go back, and if you wanted a game, here's all the games that people like. So like Wine is a big one because a lot of people can play their Windows games and stuff like that, so it's pretty well organized. Or like, say, if you were looking for what I was doing, I was looking for Kdenlive. You can come here, and there's Kdenlive right there. So anyway, the shield thing that I said was so important earlier. If you come down to this little shield, it says your system is up to date, but you click on it, and as you can see, I have two updates that are level 4 and level 5. And these are because these are in development. These aren't really done yet, so I'm not personally going to put them on here. But you always have that option. You can kind of refresh it and look again for packages if you're unsure that that's all of them. Most of the time I get to here where it says it's loaded about 99% of it, and then it just stares at me for a while. Gets nothing done. Gives me this little pop-up, but if it's important, it'll show you automatically, and see, it'll still check for updates in the background. So when they're done, when it figures itself out, see, now it says your system's up to date, it's refreshed it, and those are kind of beta packages, level 4 and 5. So one other thing you can do is you can change the desktop background. Of course, you don't have to use the standard Linux Mint one, but here, if you go into your pictures, you can of course change from your photos. You can use, like I have that. It looks really pixely on this screen, but they have a lot of really cool desktop wallpapers you can use. You can use like a beach. Here, I'll pull this on the other page. You can use, they have all sorts of just great things. Or one of my favorites is this one. Or if you wanted to go back to the retro style of things, like some of the first original stuff, you of course have that as an option. I might actually use that. It's really cool. But yeah, you have those kind of things, like the really classic older, they're called retro wallpapers from back in the day. I really like this one, the from freedom came elegance. I just think that's cool. So of course there's always the option to open up a terminal and punch in commands for getting applications that way. And there's, of course, you have your command center, your settings center. So you can go through your screen lock. You can go through different themes. That's one thing I wanted to go through. They gave you the option to change your themes completely on the new Mint. So this is what it looks like out of the box. I guess that isn't changing back. That was a cog. I don't know why it's staying the Mint logo. I personally like it like that. I don't know why it's staying like that, but you know, if it's gonna do that, I'll take the more refined looking theme then, I suppose. No, you know what, that doesn't matter. But if you wanted it like white, that's an option. If you wanted to change every icon you have to to be high contrast. There's a button for that. You could use the old GNOME packages if you like that style. I personally like the standard, the Mint X and the Linux Mint. Just kind of keeping it clean and simple. You of course have your desktop options, so if you're like me and you're like, hey, where in the world is the trash bin? I don't even know how to get to it. Because you search for it down here, you search for the trash, nothing comes up. You're like, oh, hey, where is the trash bin? So you come into your desktop settings and you click, and why is the trash bin over there? I don't know why it went behind the computer icon, but yeah, so you can also make it so if I plugged in a USB stick, it would show that. But yeah, you can click and your trash icon should show up right there. You can edit that to your liking. I personally don't think it's necessary, but yeah. So anyway, that's just kind of a general rundown. I'll do a little bit deeper interview later. Just to finish up on some of the points I started on, the reason I switched over to Linux Mint is because it is free forever. If you look on their page, I remember somewhere I read an article on their website saying that they never had any intention of becoming a paid Linux distro because they liked to keep it small and give people options to always have. Oh yeah, and that's another button. That'll show you every window you have open. They never wanted to be a paid one. They wanted someone to always have an option in case their computer had a failure or if they just liked the operating system, to always use it, always be free. People could share it with their friends or whatever. And so the reason I switched to this from Ubuntu is because of that, because it's free, because I know that if I donate, it's purely going for good. It's not saying, oh, well, now you have a reserved copy. It just means, oh, hey, you liked our operating system enough to pay us. We thank you for that. And I really like that mindset. I also really like where they're going with this desktop. I know that another really good operating system is Ubuntu, as long as it's free. I know that there's what is it? It's like, I completely forgot the name, but I was messing with it the other day, and it literally in the settings button has one, so it looks like a Mac. They have one so it looks like Windows 7, one that looks like Windows XP. So you can make it look however you want. It's really cool. If I remember the name, I'll bring it up in the next one. But yeah, this was just kind of a general, just overview of this. So I guess the way I should end this, my overall thoughts of the operating system. It is my main operating system right now because I feel it's a very efficient, very nice operating system. It gets the job done when you're too stressed out or confused by Linux to use it as your main operating system. In most cases, this one is pretty simple and easy to get around. It's good for those of you that want to switch from Windows or from Mac even, because I'm sure Mac users have used a Windows machine. So I just think overall it is a great option for those of you that want to try Linux. It's as you can see, pretty simple, pretty basic. Not a whole lot going on. You don't have to dig into the software if you don't want to. You don't have to tweak it. But of course there's always the option. And you can always go into like system monitoring. It's pretty simple. Like if you wanted to look at your system stuff, administration, because it has cogs, so you assume that it's system-y stuff. And you scroll down to system monitor, and this will pop up. And you can look at the various processes that are running. It's basically a better version of the Windows Task Manager. But anyway, thank you very much for watching my review of Linux Mint 17.1 Rebecca. I will be doing a bit more in-depth review when I have more time. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.